Welcome, everyone. It's time for Making Sales Social Live, coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios, and is brought to you by AskSSL.ai. I'm Bob Woods. Brent Coleman is off today, but I am joined by Stan Robinson Jr. How you doing, Stan?
Great, great as always. Good to see you, Bob.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Good to be seen. Appreciate that. So today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn's Sales Navigator product, or as I like to think of it, LinkedIn on steroids. We're going to link Sales Navigator in with the concept of deep sales, which incorporates both data and the people who drive it into the selling equation. Then, because we are who we are, we'll toss in a little bit of AI for good measure. And the resulting entree, if you will, gives us as sellers 5 ways to leverage Sales Navigator to give us the business intelligence we need to build trust with our customers. As I'm still under the weather, Stan is going to handle the bulk of things here. Plus, Stan is our Mr. Sales Navigator anyhow here at SSL, so it makes sense for him to drive the conversation. So before we get into the 5 ways, any further thoughts on deep sales, Stan?
Deep sales is a term that the LinkedIn Sales Navigator came up with just to describe the process of more effectively using data to learn more about our prospects, potential clients, and form more better informed, knowledgeable, and personal relationships with them. And AI, of course, is a tremendous help when it comes to gathering and analyzing the data and making sure that it's useful for anyone that's responsible for driving revenue.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what I like best about it is usually when you hear like, sales and data and AI and things like that, it sounds very analytically, it doesn't sound very genuine and authentic. But what we're going to be talking about is actually using all of that to bring the humanness into the sales equation through the 5 things that we're going to be talking about. So I personally think that that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agreed.
Yep.
Totally agreed.
So let's get right to it. Excuse me. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is optimizing personas and searches for identifying key accounts and the prospects within those accounts, Stan.
So with Sales Navigator, one of its functions you see as soon as you get on the home page about 3 o'clock on the page is the opportunity to create personas. And personas are high level forms of ideal customer profile because personas include function, seniority, title, and geography. Those are basically the components of personas. Now, Sales Navigator does have many, many more search filters than that, but you can create up to 5 personas to help get your searches started. And one of the ways that you can use personas, there are a number of ways, but one of them is if you're responsible for large accounts that have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 employees, and you want to narrow your search within an account very quickly, personas are helpful as a way of doing that. When you're inside the account, you can search by persona within an account, and it'll save you a lot of time in terms of finding the people that you're looking for. And then you can also use persona as an additional search filter because you can add personas to your filters when you're searching more generally. So personas are number one. They're a useful tool, something that Sales Navigator added maybe, I don't know, 12, 18 months ago.
Yeah, that was fairly new. And actually one thing that I want to point out is most everything where we're going to be talking about is Sales Navigator specific. This next item that we're going to be talking about, you can do this in the regular LinkedIn.com, but it is so much more effective in Sales Navigator. It's nuts basically. So number two is leveraging social proximity for referrals.
Yes, so social proximity is a fancy way of saying how closely are you related or connected to someone on LinkedIn. So first degree connections, maximum social proximity. You're directly connected. You can send each other direct messages. Presumably, you know each other at some level. And then we have second degree connections, which are people with whom you share a mutual connection. As Bob mentioned, with regular LinkedIn, you can you can easily see who your first degree connections are. You can easily see who your second degree connections are. What Sales Navigator adds to the mix, as an example, is you can add the additional search filters. So, for example, if I wanted to know who Bob Woods knows, who's an accountant in New York City with a company with a headcount of over 5,000, I can do that in Sales Navigator.
Mhm.
So the biggest thing about Sales Navigator with social proximity is it allows you to throw in those additional filters so that if I'm coming to Bob, it can be and looking for him to refer people, it can be a very specific list of people because Sales Navigator can deliver those results to me. And LinkedIn, it's great if you're not paying for Sales Navigator. You can search for connections of Bob Woods, but then you're going
Mhm.
to do a fair amount of scrolling after that to try and figure out if they meet your ideal customer persona.
Yeah, definitely scrolling and kind of going, does this, especially if you're looking for like certain size companies and things like that, it's like, does this company seem like something that would fit into my list of potential prospects? Whereas in Sales Navigator, boom, you've got it all like right there in front of you. That's why, whenever we talk about Sales Navigator, we're always like the filters alone. I mean, even going beyond everything that we're talking about now. I mean, just the search filters. If you're really into sales and data driven sales, it's definitely the way to go for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So we're going to go to number three now. So that is responding to engagement opportunities from the Sales Navigator news feed. And that's what's critical here is the Sales Navigator news feed because it is different from the LinkedIn.com news feed, which if you've seen Sales Navigator's newsfeed and you've seen LinkedIn.com's newsfeed, you know that they're different because the LinkedIn newsfeed it can be you know, just full of all kinds of things that, between the ads and what the algorithm thinks it wants you to see and everything else, you're like, sometimes it might be a little overwhelming. Tell us why the Sales Navigator newsfeed is different and, in my opinion, alone, just so much better than the regular LinkedIn.com newsfeed.
Yes, as Bob, as you mentioned, the LinkedIn news feed can be kind of overwhelming. And what's wonderful about the Sales Navigator news feed is that it's driven by the accounts and the leads that you have saved. Now, the algorithm's going to recommend additional accounts and leads based on the
Mhm.
ones that you've saved. However, what you see in your Sales Navigator newsfeed will not include ads and it will not include extraneous content from people that you have no interest in from a sales standpoint.
Right.
So one of the things that you can easily use to pull up relevant information, especially when you're pressed for time, are account alerts, which alert you to things like employee headcount growth. If headcount is growing at a company, that might be of interest to you. Or conversely, if headcount is shrinking at a company and you have a solution that will help in that type of situation, alerts can alert you to that. New decision maker hires. A great opportunity to start a sales conversation is with a new relevant decision maker that's trying to make a name for themselves at their new company. And if you have a solution that can help them do that, great opportunity for conversations. And then lead alerts. They'll highlight things like career moves. Anytime someone's engaged with content that you've posted or your company's posted, um, content that they've shared. So some of these types of things you can find on LinkedIn, but you have to do a lot of looking.
Right.
Whereas Sales Navigator, you just go straight to your alerts on the home page and you can do some filtering within alerts. You can even filter by lead and account lists that you've set up. So that's a quick overview of some of the things that you can do with alerts and what makes the Sales Navigator newsfeed very user friendly.
Yeah, very, and, especially, one of the things that I've always suggested is that if you have Sales Navigator and you are actively prospecting, obviously put everyone that you're prospecting into Sales Navigator specifically. So in other words, don't depend on LinkedIn.com to bring that stuff over for you. You need to put, those accounts in there and the leads from within accounts, or if it's just a lead without an account, or whatever that looks like, basically to put that in there so that you are seeing the content that those people are sharing, and you're only seeing the content that those people are sharing without all of the falderall coming in from the LinkedIn algorithm. That's very important. It keeps you focused when you're in Sales Navigator, which I think is another advantage of that as opposed to LinkedIn.com, because over on the .com side, we all know that there are many rabbit holes that you can fall into. It's much more difficult. I mean, you probably could fall into a rabbit hole on Sales Navigator, but it's much more difficult to
Yep, exactly. And focus was exactly the word that I was looking for.
do.
And by yes, by the way, you also want to go ahead and save your existing clients in
Yes.
Sales Nav. It's easy to overlook that, but put the algorithm to work for you by saving your existing clients. And of course, you can build lists within Sales Navigator. But saving your existing clients helps to start to send signals as far as who you're looking for to Sales Navigator so it can start to recommend people just like that.
Yeah, very cool. Get the AI, get that algorithm working for you on the Sales Navigator side. So that's an excellent suggestion, Stan. Appreciate that. So number 4, this again, you might be able to do this on the .com side, but Sales Navigator makes it easy to do, and just how you do things with it is actually very easy to do, and that's buyer mapping and socially surrounding accounts. So I think before we get into the how to do that, what are buyer mapping and social surrounding, Stan?
Yep. So buyer mapping in this case is just looking at, okay, who are the stakeholders in purchasing decisions? Because these days, especially in business to business, there is no one buyer.
Not even
Now,
close.
yeah. So you will probably have a champion within accounts that's helping you kind of navigate the political landscape within an account, but that's probably not going to be the person who's signing the check and who's doing the evaluation of your solution. No one
Mhm.
person's going to wear all those hats. So you want to make sure you're aware of who all the influencers are within the purchasing decision so that you can start to connect with them and start to build relationships with them. Socially surrounding is simply another way of saying don't just connect, and we also call it multi-threading, but don't just connect with one person. Connect with as many people as you can within a company. And one of the questions, Bob, and we get this all the time, what happens if the person I want to reach out to is not active on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Then what do I do? Look for other people within their organization, above, below them on the org chart, their peers, and start to connect with them, those people. That's what we call socially surrounding someone,
Mhm.
just starting to connect with their peers, those they manage, those who manage them. And that's one way that you will become visible. It's the long game.
Mhm.
But when you have a good relationship with especially someone's boss or manager, it's very easy to get a conversation with someone that they manage.
And then based on your buyer mapping and your social surrounding activities, you can chart that in the accounts, or you can make a separate list of that. You obviously have a way to, well, maybe not obvious if you're not on Sales Navigator, but you can actually include notes directly into Sales Navigator about any person or any account that you have there. That's something else that you can't do on LinkedIn.com. And if you have the right type, if your company, and this is definitely a company thing at this point because it's really expensive, but if you have the right type of Sales Navigator account, that actually Sales Navigator actually interfaces with several CRMs. The biggest ones, obviously, being like Salesforce is the one that always comes to my mind. It does interoperate with some others as well, and if you're at a big account, if you're at a big company that has a big CRM that Sales Navigator works with, it becomes an already very powerful tool becomes that much more strong for you.
Yep, exactly. And Sales Nav also includes Relationship Explorer and Relationship Map, which it are simply ways of being able to view people within an organization. Relationship Map actually allows you to build your own org chart and pull in
Yeah.
people so that you can see how they're related to each other and see who you may need to connect to if they're missing from the chart that you've put together.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Relationship Explorer and Relationship Map are two very powerful things that again are only available in Sales Navigator. And yeah, we talk about Sales Navigator a lot. Just want to let you know we don't make a dime off of Sales Navigator. It doesn't have anything to do with that. We think it is so powerful of a tool and a resource for you that we do talk about a lot. We do, Stan, all of us, especially Stan, offers training on how to use it, efficiently and effectively as well. So we are here for you when it comes to that, and that's especially helpful for number 5, our last item on our list today, which is two kind of separate things, but they do definitely intersect with one another, and that's a special, not special. It's only available in the higher levels of Sales Navigator, but my God, it is such a great tool to have, and that's Smart Links, and then how that interacts with buyer intent. Plus, Sales Navigator just handles buyer intent all on its own as well. Stan.
Yep, yep, exactly. So Smart Links, as Bob mentioned, available with Advanced and Advanced Plus. Those users not available to core members. But basically, if you haven't tried it yet, you want to try a Smart Link if you have access to it. It's basically a way to create a link within Sales Navigator, add any content, whether it be PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, data sheets, white papers, case studies. You can add that content to one link that you share. So you're not having to worry about uploading documents and sending those, trying to send those through email and getting caught in spam filters and
Yeah,
et
all the
cetera, et
fun stuff.
cetera. So being able to send a single link with multiple pieces of content is a beautiful thing. The second thing about it, though, are the analytics, because you can have it gated such that someone has to put in their email in order to access the information. And Sales Navigator will show you analytics as far as from the content that you shared with them, which ones pieces of content they opened and how long they spent on each piece of content that you shared within the smart link,
Yeah, that's
which
huge.
is, yeah, it's definitely huge. It's an indicator of their interest in the different pieces of content. And then if they do share the smart link with some of their colleagues who may be part of the buying process, it is also a way to basically get the names of new decision makers in the process that you may not already have on your radar. So smart links are wonderful, and there are multiple ways that you can use it. Buyer intent is something that probably less than a year old, definitely less than 18 months old. And basically, buyer intent means signals that LinkedIn has gotten from their members that they have an interest in your company. So, for example, if someone at a target account of yours has looked at your LinkedIn company page or connected with one of your colleagues on LinkedIn, even if it's not you, those are signals of buyer intent. In other words, they're interested in your company. And this type of data, and this is where AI comes into play, would be impossible for you to see. You have
Yep.
no visibility into things like that. But this is where AI, Sales Nav's algorithms can surface information that will help you in the sales process.
Yeah, that's all that's absolutely tremendous. And getting back to where we started with smart links, just having that ability to not only be able to add to a smart link as you go along. So, maybe you do like a preliminary proposal. Say that 3 times fast when you're sick. And then, you have some more meetings and things like that. You then upload an updated one. Upload some other documentation, things like that, but you keep it all in that same repository. And then people other, like Stan said, other people from within the company can come in and look at that. You can see when they look, how long they look. You can enable downloads as well, so people can actually download if you want them to. Sometimes you may want to do that, sometimes you may not. It just depends on your specific situation. But it will tell you if people downloaded something, which is a pretty strong buyer intent signal, if you ask me, when they
Yeah,
when they when they actually download something.
absolutely.
So with that, I think unless Stan, you have any final thoughts, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up.
Yep, I think we've given everyone enough to chew on. The Sales Navigator just offers some powerful features that help you move the sales process forward, gather intelligence on your potential clients, such that you can, as Bob mentioned at the outset, you can have conversations with them that are relevant, that are trust-based, because you're bringing data and additional insights to them, which helps them in what they're doing.
Right,
So
and
thanks,
it's
Bob.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely all about, helping them with the types of data or whatever it is that they need to have them more involved, more involved and more educated and more aware as they move through the sales process, which is all just is fantastic stuff. Stan, thanks for Thanks for giving my voice a little bit of a break during this. Appreciate that. And thank you for joining us and for putting up with my scratchiness for this episode of Making Sales Social Live, sponsored by AskSSL.ai. If you're with us live on LinkedIn or YouTube right now, we do this every week, so keep an eye out for our live sessions. If you're listening to us on our podcast, which means you're listening to the recorded version and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button and also drop us a like and a comment. We definitely love those as well. We do two shows weekly, this one and our Making Sales Social interview series, where we discuss with leaders and experts all types of topics and things like that. And they're in sales, marketing, business, and many more areas. If you'd like more on our podcast, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcast. So Stan, it's just you today, so we can probably handle this without much difficulty. So when you are out and about, be sure to make your sales.
Social.
Yeah, oh yeah, bring in the bass with that too. I love it. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.